Hello. Sorry. If there was an audience, I would not laugh like that. Okay. Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Anna. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining. Sorry. Hey, Anna. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for joining the Anxious Mermaid. I'm so happy to have you here, and I am so excited to finally just have you be a part of this healing journey virtually.
Hi, Jeannie. Thank you so much for starting this. I feel like we've graduated. We went from keeping this into a private space and now it's a public space. So I'm super excited and I'm proud because I didn't really think we would actually get to this point, but it finally happened. And
Yeah, it's crazy. Just to give you guys a backstory, so as a lot of us, I struggle with a lot of anxiety, and I've had my fair share of breakups, depression, and just life happening. And I'm sure Anna will, share some of her story and everything, especially in the next coming videos. But we both started to we kind of started this little group on WhatsApp, and we had a group of a few girls, and we would just share stories together. We built a community, and we were very vulnerable. It wasn't easy at first, but then we realized that as we became vulnerable and as we had a community where we could just share and relate, we found that that in itself was a big healing factor in all of this. So I just feel like we have both wanted to just kind of spread that out to the world. And I think right now, this is our first video together, so we may have a little bit of hiccups here and there. Give us compassion. but just stick through the video. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this. And yeah, so let's just jump into the topic of today. Today's topic is pandemic. The pandemic and COVID. COVID anxiety, COVID fear. Do you want to share a little bit of just anything you want to share real quick about COVID in general? We won't go into the story just yet.
I guess for the person watching, especially given everything we've talked about and everything that we've created together with the group, it's okay if you feel alone. It's okay if you feel scared. Something that's been showing up for me a lot is I feel like it's not really being taken seriously. And at the same time, I feel like there's probably been moments where I'm not really taking it that seriously. Like if the past me would have met me right now, I would have been like, it's not so serious. And this me would be like, yes, it is, actually.
Yeah.
Because I got it. I got COVID, and that made it just, it's always been real, but when you get it, it feels really fucking real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically one of the reasons that Anna wanted to jump in on the COVID talk with us is because unfortunately she did get COVID, but thankfully you're here looking amazing and beautiful and healthy as ever. So that is a good thing for anybody who might currently have COVID or who might be scared or struggling. Just know that there are good stories out there as well. And I don't know her whole story yet, which is why I have her on here, and we're going to learn about her experience together. But before we start with her story, we did just want to, let you guys know that it's okay to be afraid. And especially coming from me, I have been one of the most severe, cautious, COVID people. I literally do not hang out with anybody. I'm not saying that's healthy and that you should avoid people, but like I said, I am going to be vulnerable with you guys. And this podcast or YouTube channel is about the healing journey and just kind of going through reality, which is I do struggle with anxiety, and the COVID pandemic is real. And we're trying to figure out how to get through it if you have it or if you're avoiding it or whatever it is, if it's crippling you. How do we get through this together and validate that it's okay to feel what we're feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess if you're ready to go ahead and just jump in with with your experience, you already shared that how you felt before even getting it. You were kind of like sometimes you didn't really feel like you cared too much or noticed that COVID is like big deal anymore, but then sometimes you were like,
Yeah, so I was pretty paranoid before the vaccine was out, but I had a job as a swimming instructor. I would wear my mask, but it was always at the back of my mind. But I knew I couldn't like let it be at the front of my mind because then I would just be like super paranoid all the time.
mhm,
And then once I got the vaccine, I kind of felt like even though I knew logically, like, hey, it's not over and you can still get it, I felt like it's over. Like,
mhm,
life is good, life is normal again, I've adjusted, like,
yeah,
things are it kind of it felt like the end. It felt like
mhm,
things are, finally getting good because when it, first became a reality, I was really scared.
yeah,
Like, my first feeling was, I don't really wanna be alone, which is
mhm,
ironic because we have to isolate, and, um, I kind of my eating patterns changed, not really for the like, I was, like, kinda restricting myself, and that's not really healthy. So this time around, that little happy place, that closure that, like, it's coming to an end just, like, popped when like a bubble. It just, like, when I
yeah,
found out that I was positive with it, and I kinda feel like I'm back to the beginning of, like, "Wow, this is real. I feel scared. I don't wanna be alone. I feel alone." You know?
yeah.
What's gonna happen? Like, it's definitely, um it's like I really need to be making a conscious effort to manage my anxiety so that I don't just, like,
Yeah,
like
so you don't spiral. Yeah, sorry, you cut off for a second right there, but I think you said so that you don't spiral into this like place of fear, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's super important, I think, like for the longest before I even got my vaccine, I was literally crippled anxiety basically, like I was like it was just a lot. Like I felt like I work from home, which is great, but at the same time, I was just like, I don't want to make that much interaction with people. Like, okay, there you are, bye. It was just intense, and I'm still struggling with it. And I'm sure other people who are watching this are, and if you're not, that's good for you because honestly, it's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't feel good to feel like I'm isolating myself and everybody else is starting to live normal now, but then when you see things like this happen where people start to get it, you're like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's okay that I was a hermit crab," you know? But,
Mhm.
yeah, I guess, do you wanna share, like, how did you find out that you had it? Did you find well, I guess we can start talking about symptoms. Did you have the symptom or did you just
Yeah.
get tested, you know?
So, I went out to eat dinner to celebrate my friend's birthday, and, I was super excited to see my best friend that she doesn't live here,
Mhm.
um, and she's not vaccinated. And I hugged her, I was, like, sitting next to her, and then, all up in her space,
Mhm.
sharing food, and then she confesses to me, "Hey, I don't really feel well, by the way, I feel sick," and I was like
That
I
same day?
instantly yeah, I
Oh,
wanted to
no.
leave. I wanted
Yeah.
to leave my everything, like, I actually and, like, I haven't felt social anxiety in a long time, like, a really long time, but in that moment, it was that whole thing of, like, you're kinda, like, acting like you're just eating,
Mhm.
smiling, but inside you're like, "I don't wanna be here, I don't wanna be here,
Yeah.
I wanted to get out, and I even
Oh
started to
gosh.
feel a little bit like, I was bothered, like, I was like, "Why didn't you tell me this?"
Yeah, you were kind of
Like,
mad, like, "Really? Why didn't you
I
tell me this?" Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
which I let her know afterwards, and then I just prayed that eventually I was just like, "You know what? I hope that my vaccine protects me and that I'll be fine, and maybe if anything, I'll just get a cold." That was on a Thursday, and then Friday I was fine, and then Saturday, um that's when I started to feel like just regular like cold
Mhm,
symptoms, and I was like, "Damn, maybe I did get, a cold,
mhm,
and hopefully it is just I'm sure it'll be just be a cold. It'll just be a cold." And then at
mhm.
night, I, like, couldn't sleep,
Oh,
like,
no.
and I didn't wanna acknowledge my fear. I didn't wanna, like I feel like I was kind of a little in denial, especially the next day when
Mhm,
I just felt so, so tired. But I was like, "Oh, it's because
mm,
I didn't really sleep." But I was like that day was the most tiring day of my life. I was so tired. And, I had I had to go to I'm as
mhm,
a professional mermaid, and we were gonna do some little promo that morning, and she actually my boss there, she messaged me that she was sick, so she
mhm.
canceled, and I felt huge relief because I was like, "I do not wanna be a mermaid right now,"
Mhm.
like, and I was like, "I should find someone else to cover this party for me." And I reached out to one coworker, she said she couldn't, and I was like, "You know what? I decided to, like, stick it out." But that was definitely denial. But at the same time, I was like, "Oh, I'm tired because I didn't sleep much," you
Yeah.
know? And then, I I ordered breakfast. I couldn't taste my breakfast.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
the biggest sign.
I was in denial again. I was like, "Oh, it's because I'm about to do a party, so I'm nervous, and it's a
Mhm,
long drive, so I'm really nervous." And
mhm,
on my way over, and I barely ate. Like,
mhm.
I had, like, what, 5 bites or something, and then on my way there, I was, like, feeling kinda faint, and I was like, "Okay, it's because I haven't drank enough water."
Mhm.
And when it was over, like, I really feel like my body knew that I had it, but I was
Mhm.
in denial.
Mhm.
And, because I still went out, even
Mm.
being so except this time I was like, "I'm wearing my mask. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
my mask on. I'm not gonna, like, do what my best friend did."
Yeah, and get
And I
people.
went to
Mhm.
yeah, I went to the night garden with my boyfriend,
Mhm.
tired as fuck.
Mhm.
And the next day, slept most of the day, tired as fuck. My best
Mhm.
friend messaged me, "Oh, my roommate, the girl she was staying with has COVID," and I was like, "Dude, you have it. You can't deny this anymore."
Yeah.
And
S
then I
Wow.
got tested, and the next day I got positive, and
Oh, goodness.
ooh,
So you think, so that was, like, your 3rd day-ish experiencing it, and then did it get better from there, or do you think that your anxiety, once you knew you got it, did that make you feel worse at all, or did you actually
yes.
feel worse? Like
So that night at the night garden, I had this like just like dry, horrible feeling in like my chest.
mhm,
And I was like, I guess it's just anxiety mixed
mhm.
with me like
Yeah.
getting the cold and my tiredness from not sleeping the night before.
Mhm,
Um and I breathed through it like right before we got down from the car. I like kind of like how we prayed and breathed before the video. I did that and I calmed myself. And when I went to the doctor, she like I had fever,
mm.
but I like slept, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
Um and by the time I went to the urgent care by my house. By the time I went there, I felt okay.
Mhm.
I even thought, "Oh, maybe I don't have it. I don't have the fever
Yeah.
anymore.
Mhm.
I'm I guess I was just tired and I had a cold and now I'm fine." And I walked out
Mhm.
of there thinking like, "Oh, no, I'm healthy. I'm fine. I'm good."
Mhm.
And finding out about it definitely I'm sure my fear and my anxiety over it made it worse because it took me like I think 2 days to even accept it.
Mhm.
Like I just did not want to have it. I
Yeah.
did not want to have it.
Yeah. Did
And
you sorry to interrupt. Did you notice any like what if anxiety fears that kind of came in that you had to try to like fight away or like turn in positive? Did you notice any of those types of fears coming in when you got positive?
I mean, I was like, "Damn, I should not have done those parties." Like, what
Mhm.
if I infected anyone at the party?
So like
Um,
regret a little bit?
yeah,
Mm.
I was like, I should not have done that, or at least I should have, worn a mask,
Mhm.
at the parties.
Mhm.
Um, and then my boyfriend, I called him to tell him literally as I was telling him on the phone, he was getting sick. He's
Oh
like, "Oh,
no.
I actually feel like cold symptoms right now." And I was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh my
gosh.
god." He was at
No.
Walmart.
Yeah.
And then in just a couple of hours he had a fever. And
Oh
I was like, "He
goodness.
has it. Like he
Yeah,
has
there's
it."
no way. Mhm.
And he has asthma, which made
Mhm.
me think of you.
Yeah, that's why I'm so
Um
scared.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
completely understand why you're so scared now because
Mhm.
he ended up coming over that night and I witnessed him have an asthma attack, which he
Oh
says that he kind of
no.
triggered like
Mhm.
because he panicked.
Mhm.
Like he got the fever, it was a cold night, we were in his car. I was like,
Mhm.
screw the distancing. We already know he has it.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, um and And then I witnessed him, like, just, like, wheezing and, like,
Mhm.
it hurting him to breathe, and I was just, like, freaking out. I was like, "Oh my god, I think we're gonna have to take you to the hospital." Like, it
Mhm.
was terrifying, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, me freaking out is not gonna help the situation. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
be calm." But that was like, I it felt so surreal. I felt like I was in
Mhm.
a sci-fi movie or something, and it reminded me of seeing because my dad died of bladder cancer, and I saw him, like, the day he died, I, like, witnessed his death. I was, like, holding his hand as it
Oh
happened.
goodness. Yeah.
So, witnessing my boyfriend, like, being like, wheezing for air
Mhm.
as COVID was, like, taking over his body was so freaking terrifying.
Goodness.
Like,
Yeah, you see, like, the extreme like, how yours was a little more like, okay, maybe flu-like symptoms, but then his attacks his lungs, or even if it was anxiety induced with it, I'm sure it's kind of a combination. I mean, it probably was,
yeah.
like, with COVID too, because for the wheezing to actually happen I mean, I don't know 100%, but, like, but that's pretty intense and it's scary. That's why I think it's okay, like, that's why I validate myself for having my own fear and I validate whoever else is feeling fear. Even right now, if you're watching this and you're kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, like scared, it's okay, because that is kind of scary to, and the good thing about hearing this is that you don't have to feel shame or like, oh my gosh, everybody's been belittling my fear because in reality, it is real. And there's a lot of people who have had stories where someone passes away from this, and for others to tell you that this is not real, that has probably been traumatizing in itself and very like
Mhm.
belittling. So, so yeah, that's intense. But like, yeah, I want to jump back into the story and like see what happened to him. Like when that night did he go to the hospital? Like how did he find help when he was struggling with that, I guess?
He did not want to go to the hospital at all.
Mhm.
Which I later he was like, "Oh, the thing that kept running through my head in that moment was hearing of somebody who had the symptoms I had, went to the hospital, got like they put him on a
Incubator? The
and then they died."
incubator? Oh my
So he was like,
goodness.
"Yeah." So he's like,
Yeah.
and it's funny because he doesn't really struggle with anxiety. He doesn't
Mhm.
really, but like when he
Yeah.
does, it's like super intense and like I'm like,
Yeah.
"Whoa,
You're like,
where
"Wait,
did
who is this
that?"
guy?"
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man. Uh-huh.
It's him calming me.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it was definitely me just kinda, like, monitoring him and, like,
Mhm.
just like telling him like everything's gonna be okay, and like, but I was purely acting. I was purely
You're
like,
freaking out on the inside, right?
yeah, inside,
Oh,
like I complete like it felt like like an act, like a performance. Like I'm just
oh
gonna be this
man.
like ASMR girlfriend and just
Mhm.
soothe you. It's okay. Like, but
Yeah.
inside, I'm like I remember I was like, oh, I need to go outside for a moment, and I like came to my room and I was like, let me acknowledge that is very this is triggering an incredibly
Yeah.
traumatizing experience for me right now.
Mhm.
But by then he was fine. He calmed down. It didn't hurt. He also said that because it was cold and we went in the car, he put the heater on, the air got dry. So like all
It
the
just all
conditions,
triggered. Yeah.
it all yeah. And
So
I was just like,
mhm.
I was praying that like we don't get this like horror story where like that
Mhm.
happens to him. Like we
Yeah.
even like we had made a joke about it earlier,
Mhm.
and then like here and then to witness the reality of it was like
Oh my goodness.
it was really scary.
That is crazy. And like they oh yeah, for any asthmatics out there like myself, it's crazy. Like, because I haven't heard enough about asthmatics dealing with COVID. So to me, this is very like intriguing. Um, and kind of like, oh my goodness, like I kind of like want to
Mhm.
dig in a little bit. Um, did he have his inhaler or was there anything that he used in the moment? Or did he just calm himself down basically?
He just calmed himself down.
Because he
Yeah,
hasn't
he
been like
didn't.
struggling for years, really, has he?
No, it's like been something like 20 years. Like it's been a really, really
Wow.
long time.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm
So
like,
he
that's
didn't
kind of
even
scary, but it's
he
good that he was able to get out of it, snap out of
yeah,
whatever. Wow.
yeah.
Um, so you guys had it for the same amount of time, you would say? How many days did yours last, like everything you struggled with?
Um, so I was positive on December 15th, but I had symptoms for about like 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then today's Wednesday, so I stopped like 2 weeks ago. So I did
About
stick to my quarantine. So
mm-hmm.
like I definitely like I was like I'm sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm not so it's possible that I was negative before the test,
Mm-hmm.
but I had
Yeah.
it like 10 days, you know.
Okay. So the worst of yours was probably just the fevers and, like, the kinda dry chest was kinda, like, the worst parts?
The dry chest was the worst, yeah,
Mhm.
because if it wasn't for that, I feel like it would have felt like a normal cold, a
Mhm.
normal fever, a normal but that mixed with the tiredness, like,
Mhm.
that was really it kinda reminded me because I had pneumonia when I was 13. It reminded me of that, but, like, instead of it feeling, like, wet, it was, like, dry.
Mhm. Oh,
Like,
I hate
the dry cough
asthma
thing, like
triggers.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
and it was just horrible.
Mhm.
But I knew that mentally I was like, like, I feel like if somebody if I would have gotten, like, a negative result
Mhm.
and I wouldn't be having it on my mind, I have COVID, I probably would have felt much better,
Okay. Yeah.
you know?
Mhm. That makes
But,
sense.
yeah. I
Um,
was always so scared to have it, like, I did
yeah.
not wanna have it. I was like, "I don't wanna have this illness that has killed so many people in the world right now, and that
Mhm.
knowing that I can give it to someone and then that could lead to their death, like, how is that not
Yeah.
fucking terrifying?"
I know. And it's,
Like
sometimes I feel like the world not okay, that might sound horrible. Let me rephrase that. Sometimes
mhm,
I feel like I don't want it to be a reality check where anyone has to die, but sometimes we need a reality check that, hey, this is real, and like even just hearing your story, like I'm sorry that this happened to you in France. And obviously, like I love you guys
mhm,
and it's sad to say you guys had to go through that. But it's just I'm so like proud of you for like stepping up and sharing and not just being like, no, whatever, like you're here
mhm,
like sharing and helping people and letting them know that it's okay to be afraid and letting them know that like you're also like a survivor of it, you know, which is great, you know, because yeah, and like, what was I gonna say? Like, Franz is young, and like, since he has asthma, unfortunately, like, it did make him feel worse, you know. But at the end of the day, like, he's healing as well. Like, right now, he's negative, I believe. And is
Yeah,
he
he
feeling
is.
back to normal-ish?
Yeah, no. Every
Okay,
every
thank
time he's
God.
gotten sick, he gets sick like super intensely, like
Mhm.
1 or 2 days, and then he's perfectly fine.
And after that, he was good.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he and that's how it was.
Mhm.
He had like I think 2 more days of like really intense fever and tiredness, and then it was just like a cough and he was fine.
Oh, good.
And
Okay.
now he's like super he's okay. Yeah.
So both of you guys didn't have to take any medications for it?
No, just vitamins. Yeah, just vitamins
Mhm.
and just like water.
Yeah, lots of
Um,
water. Yeah, any tips for
yeah.
anybody who's currently with COVID? Any tips on, like, whatever helped you? Even if
There's
it's mentally too?
um elderberry vitamins, gummies.
Yeah. Always have
They
your
taste
gummies.
really good.
Mhm.
Yeah. I one of the first things I did actually was go on YouTube and I saw two videos of um like these women that got COVID, and that was
Mhm.
really comforting because the first video I clicked, it was like a girl in college, and she kind of set the tone for like me setting the tone of my COVID experience. You
Mhm.
know, she was like, she was grateful, she was positive, she, she also confessed that it was hard, you know, and she
Mhm.
had bad days, and especially in the beginning where she was like really tired and had headaches. But she was like, it was like back when the quarantine was 2 weeks instead of
Mm.
one. She was like, I got a lot of homework done. And then she just shared things that she did. Like I did like a makeover one day. I just shaved my whole
Yeah.
body one day. Like I, you know, she would hang out outside in her
Mhm.
backyard. She'd be grateful for the food that her mom made her. So I kind of just like took on that tone of like I'm gonna complete my RBT course when I have the energy. I'm certified to work with
Mhm.
children with autism.
Oh,
So I
wow.
made that my goal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
And
beautiful. That's good.
yeah.
Did
So
you get
have
to
a
finish it?
goal. I haven't finished it
Uh-huh.
yet. Um, I got to like 17%.
Mhm.
But that really helped me a lot
Yeah.
because that's kind of how I've always like if I'm going through a really hard time, the way my mind works is like it needs to really focus on something. It needs to
Mhm.
go into something or like anxiety and depression just cause.
Yeah, you have to, like, put your focus somewhere else, somewhere in a towards a goal or towards something positive. Yeah, that's probably, like, one of the biggest things, you know, obviously, when you're, like, crippled, feeling really sick, like, there's a difference between, "I'm just so sick right now, and I need to just watch a movie and lay
Yeah,
down," but then, like, maybe once you're feeling a little better, like, try to get your mind off of researching what happened to everybody who got you know, like, don't dig
I
into
no, I
that,
did
you know?
not do that.
Yeah,
No,
never dig
no,
into the
because I would have
symptoms.
psyched myself out. I would have, because there
Yeah.
are those stories of like a young person that was seemingly healthy suddenly, you
Mhm.
know, like,
Yeah, and there's no
um,
point in having to have that
no,
play through your
I
head.
exactly. And
Mhm.
I also reread, I started rereading The Power of Now,
Hmm.
and I would really just practice mindfulness
Mhm.
and acceptance. Like I started to feel better once I accepted that I had COVID.
Mhm.
Like I would try to see it as a teacher. Like what is it teaching me? Why is it
Yeah.
here? It's here for a reason.
Mhm.
Um and I learned, especially with practicing the mindfulness, that there's which, you know, we all have this. This is our
Mhm.
ego. Um, but I just feel like there was one day I was telling my boyfriend, like, I was like, "I feel like I live with, like, a really bad friend, and, like, she doesn't want me to be happy. She doesn't wanna see me do good. She doesn't want me to be happy with you, like, she's just always telling me really negative things and wants me to be, like, stuck and sad and hopeless, and it's it's like if I listen to her, I will be those things, but all I have
Yeah.
to do is not listen
Mhm.
and listen to the voice in me that I feel is the real me, which is like my friend,
Mhm.
then I feel good, I feel okay. But I became so aware of when that like bad friend in me would show up and
Mm.
like which that was kind of harder than the COVID itself.
Okay,
That
the
was
negative
harder.
thoughts.
That yeah, like,
Wow.
cause
Mhm.
it's not normal to be in your room for, like, 10 days straight,
Oh
like,
my
that's
gosh,
not
yeah.
it's just that part is really, really hard, you
Yeah.
know? And there's so much you can do, you can watch movies, you can read books, you can
Mhm.
call a friend, have do all those things, do things
Mhm.
that will kinda, like, keep you feeling sane and positive, but
Mhm.
if you just give in to, like, "Oh, I'm in my room," like,
Dark
I'm
room, no contact with
isolated.
anybody.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's just not normal, and
Yeah.
my my mind quickly, you know,
Mhm.
picked up on that and just really wanted it's like it was like this, like, wanting to suffer, and I'm like, "I don't wanna suffer." Then there's that
Yeah.
part of me that's like, "I do wanna suffer." I'm like, "No, I don't.
I know. Oh
Leave
my
me alone."
gosh. And, like, I completely understand that because, like, especially in the beginning of the pandemic when it first remember when they actually had everybody, like, locked down, that whole thing? I remember during that time, I was kinda like, "Oh my gosh." I think everybody experienced a little bit of, like, "Are we gonna go crazy? Like, this is my thoughts, like, I'm here stuck with you," like, all these different things, like, with certain people. And I just
Yeah.
remember, like, I felt kinda the same way, and, like, I remember I started TikToking at that time because 'cause I'm like,
Mhm.
I need to keep creating somehow because I was performing
Yeah.
before, and then it's like, I'm not allowed to perform. No one's gonna pay me to do it online right now. So let me do something. And it's true. We have to have an outlet, especially with what we can do. Like if we're stuck quarantined, you still have to find a way to be creative or a way to like communicate with people or to like just release, do music, whatever you have to do. But
Mhm.
but yeah, so I'm glad you're sharing that. It's like you really have to kinda sometimes fight your own self?
Yeah, like, accept it, be present
Mhm,
with it. My best friend, she was like, "Yeah, when you have depression, it's just habits, it's just
mhm,
recurring thoughts, so you need to like, when you feel it, you want to go to those habits that are destructive, but you
mhm,
need to be like, 'Nope, I need to do like, the thing you don't wanna do when
mhm.
you feel that way, you must do. You must eat, you must,
Yes.
for me, meditate,
Mhm.
um, like, remind yourself what you're grateful for, be present, like, um,
Sometimes talk to somebody even if you don't
talk
really
to
think
some
you need
yeah,
to,
go
just show
outside,
up,
do the
call
yoga.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, I didn't wanna go to yoga yesterday, but I was like,
Mhm,
"No," because that's literally how it works. It's like you if you choose the habits that keep you feeling sad or stuck, you're gonna keep feeling sad and stuck. If you
mhm.
choose the habits that make you feel good, it's just gonna stack.
Yeah.
So,
It's like your body gets used to the serotonin instead of, like, all the depression. I don't know the term for that,
yeah.
but, like, yeah, so and that makes so much sense, like, you want your body to start getting used to, like, "Oh, wow, I did this and I felt better. I'm not depressed all the time. Oh, I can get out of
Mhm.
this depression if I just force myself to do
Mhm.
something positive?" Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I really like that. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. I hope if you are at home right now, afraid of COVID, like even if you have it or you don't have it, I hope that you do, take this time to like think of things like, hey, what would make me happy? And like even if you don't know yet, like that's the beauty of just life. You can try things. Like
Mhm.
life is like this is your first time here, so like you don't know everything that you like and don't like until you try it, you know? Like for example, when the pandemic first started, I used to be a singer, and because I have asthma, I really stopped singing. I was just freaking out. It was a hard time for me, so I stopped singing and everything, but I still wanted to release something. So I went on YouTube and I picked up how to do like LED spinning, like fan spinning, the hoop spinning, all that like flow arts. And I just started learning on there, and that really kind of helped with the depression. Um, and that's something I never considered myself doing in the past. So like I didn't know I would like it until I tried it. So is there anything like that you ever picked up or something you did recently as you were going through the pandemic or your COVID experience?
Before I had COVID, especially like in the lockdown, I was like, yoga is gonna get me through this.
Mhm.
So I became really disciplined with my yoga practice. I would go on YouTube, um, with specifically yoga with Adrian.
Oh, I like her.
And yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out to
and then yeah,
her.
shout out to you. I
Shout
love
out.
you. I love you
And her
so much.
dog is so cute.
Benji, yeah, it was
Yes.
always like my positive, you know,
Mhm.
thing of the day, and like just hearing the way she talks to you, like so friendly, so gentle, like to me, that's my goal of like how I want to talk to myself all the time, is the
Mhm.
way that she talks to you in the videos. So I would let that voice kind of like set the tone for my day.
Mhm.
And then eventually I got good at it, and then I became a yoga teacher.
Yes,
I got
Anna is a
certified.
yoga teacher.
I'm still starting out, but
Yes,
let's see.
but that's amazing. You
Yeah,
did that. You learned something
that
through
is
the
the thing. That
pandemic.
is the exactly, that's the thing I did, and
Uh-huh.
I published my first book.
Oh my gosh, yes. Do you
Yeah,
wanna share a little
that's another
snippet of
thing.
that real quick? If you wanna just, give 'em, like, a quick little, I don't know, quick thing, and I'll link your book below if you'd like as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So, as I mentioned earlier, um, when I was 19, my dad died of bladder cancer, and I promised him that I would turn the pain into art. I've always wanted to be an author since I was 9, and, when I was 19 and I said goodbye to my dad, I promised him that I would turn the pain into art and that I would do that by writing. So, it was a 5-year journey. Um, I had the book complete for a while, but I kinda just literally put it in a shelf, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to really, like, do the last steps and hit publish and have it out in the world. But that was my initial goal, um, when the
Mhm,
pandemic was, like, at at the most intense of lockdown. That was my
mhm,
focus, and I was like,
and
"Wow, that's I made it." Like,
yeah, and now it's out, and it's ready for you guys to
yeah,
check out below.
it
I have one actually, I think is it
is.
right here? Wait, I have
Oh
it
my god,
somewhere.
that
It might not actually be here, but I will link it below for sure.
yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah,
yes,
check it out, guys. It's gotten really good reviews, and
yes.
it'll help you if, you know, if you're feeling alone, if you're going through loss,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
any kind of loss.
especially with the COVID topic, anybody who might have lost someone to COVID, it's hard, I'm sure it's hard to cope with any type of loss. And of course, I think your book, they'll be able to relate.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
being and all of that, but
Mhm.
that's another like positive thing,
Oh, wow,
you
that
know.
is pretty ironic. Yeah, like
I know. I
during these
know.
times that there's a lot of losses and this book is coming out, like I think, yeah, I really hope it gets into the right hands and that people can heal through that book as well. So,
And do this
yeah, through all
too. Like
through
I
all of
like
it.
guys, like, and you know, if you feel inspired to start your own little group, whether it's your friends, whether you just met
Mhm.
them, start your group because I miss the group so much. Like,
Yeah, our little
so
weekly we
much.
did like a
Yes.
weekly, it was kinda like a weekly healing journey chat, like every week we just
Yeah.
met up on Zoom. We actually did this all through Zoom because, like I said, I'm very anxious about being close to people still, because of
Understandably
COVID.
so. Yeah.
So I listened to myself. One of the things I didn't do for the longest in my life was listen to myself. And I would just like allow people to shame me or allow myself to shame myself and be like, oh, I am being too weird. Let me just hang out with them. But in this case, I'm like, no, no, no. I have asthma and I just can't. I'm not gonna risk my health and I'm not gonna risk my mental health each time I see people by being afraid that maybe I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to say you need to isolate, but I didn't isolate. I made a group and I was able to actually get closer than I probably would have if I didn't start the group. Like I probably wouldn't have been
Yeah.
this close with you if we didn't start doing these weekly groups together. Um and yeah, like they say, like it's not like man shouldn't be alone, like women shouldn't be alone. Like we need people in our lives. And even just you looking at this video and like seeking community and help and just learning that in itself is community as well. That's why I always encourage you guys to comment and like feel free to like ask questions and like maybe someday we can open up a Discord to all of you guys where we can all chit
Yeah.
chat, like that would be
Oh
so
my, that's
awesome.
that's a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
really I we've got to keep doing this. Like
Mhm. Yeah, please
it's
if you
essential.
if you watched all the way till the end, definitely let us know if you would like us to start, a little community on the side where you guys can talk to us on some type of platform, which could be Discord or we'll figure it out. I'm just so happy that we were able to talk about this topic of the pandemic and COVID. And not a lot of people say it, but it's okay to be afraid and it's normal if you're afraid. Lots of people become, I think sometimes we're in that trance, like you said, where
Mhm.
you're almost like, it's kind of like a thing, but your brain is like, it's all good. Like, no, it's not. Like, you almost
Yeah.
forget, like, or you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I
Cuz
don't
you
blame, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Hmm.
You gotta keep living. You gotta keep
Yeah.
working, making money. You
Hmm.
can't just we can't just all sit there like little
Yeah. We
scared
can't stay
squirrels.
frozen, like if you're
You
choosing to
know?
be super safe because you have to for your health reasons, like if you have low immune disorder, anything like that, then I totally understand that you kind of have to be safer, but don't do it isolated. Don't just give up and say, okay, well, my friends, they don't want to do video chats, so I'm done. Like maybe
Yeah.
join other communities who are on the same boat, who want to keep growing and who want to continue to, build community and just to heal because not everybody's going to be on the same boat as you. I'm sure both of us have experienced times of loneliness or where we just feel like nobody understands me or like I'm the only one who wants this community. I'm the only one who's afraid right now. Like, and that's okay,
Yeah.
but you can find your community. So,
Oh.
yay. Yeah. So, is there anything else you wanted to share with anybody or add to this video?
um, just I would say validate your feelings
Mhm.
and really focus on speaking to yourself the way you want your best friend or your partner or your mom or whoever to talk to you. And, you know, really practice compassion for yourself and those around you because it's inevitable that you're going to have different points of view, like, about COVID, about life. But if
Oh, yeah.
COVID is something that's specifically triggering you right now, just practice compassion for yourself, practice compassion for the people around you because we may all be going through the same thing, but we all
Mhm.
have our own points of view. And to be angry at someone, to try to like get them to see it your way, I
Mhm.
mean, it's all about how you go about it. You can either go about it with love or you can go about it with fear. So
Mhm.
I recommend love, I recommend compassion, starting with
Yes.
yourself.
No, amen to that. That was so beautifully said, honestly. compassion is key for yourself and for everybody else.
Mhm.
Because, like you said, we're never going to see eye to eye. I mean, hopefully we
Mhm.
can someday, but for the most part, you don't see eye to eye with every single person in this planet. So, as long as you're just compassionate and, like you said, acting out with love, even and love also includes just loving yourself enough to walk away from people who are just shaming you or like judging you too much or forcing you to do something. If you've already said no, you're not comfortable doing this or that, then just love yourself and walk away and set your boundaries. Like there's just so much that you can do to protect yourself without having to fight people or lose yourself. Like you just got to set that boundary and just find the right group for yourself and right community.
Yeah. Community, community.
Yeah, I think just reading in itself, like I wasn't a big reader up until the pandemic, honestly, because eventually I got kind of bored. I'm like, there's not much to do. Like before I even started the group with everybody, I was just like, what do I do? So I picked up some books that had to do with what I was struggling with. Those are my kind of books to read. I just liked reading about like
Yeah.
struggles and how to get better. But but you can pick whatever you want. You can read about fantasy or whatever and just enjoy yourself. So
Yeah.
so yeah, guys, thank you so much. I can talk about like mental health all day and go into all these different topics.
We will. We have, like, and, like, that's it. We started. The journey
Yeah, it has
is
begun.
public. It's it's out. It's
Yes,
available.
exactly. So let us know if you guys have any other questions or any topics, any other topics you want us to cover, even if it has to do more with the pandemic or COVID, whatever. Like, let me know. I'm open to that. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like, and don't forget to check out all of Anna's awesome stuff below. And please stay safe. Please take care of yourself, your mental peace, and your health. And yeah, we hope to have Anna back very soon. Thank you again, Anna, for coming and joining on our little journey here at the Anxious Mermaid.
You're welcome. I'm so proud of you.
Aw, thank you. I was trying to keep my little mermaid vibes. I was
This
wondering, I'm like,
one.
where's her crown? Anna is a professional mermaid as well. So yeah, maybe next time we'll both rock our crowns.
Yeah. Full
But
mermaid gear.
yes, full mermaid gear. But alrighty, guys, I hope you guys have a great night or day, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Bye.